back. I took a quick coffee break. We're going to get back at it with episode 4. So we've encountered this local settlement, and there seemed to be some trouble at the gate. A goblin horde attacked. We saved the locals from the goblins, and then we accidentally picked up a shovel. And we're thrown in jail. And somehow we broke out of jail. And now it seems that several of the people are questioning whether or not we are supposed to be in jail. So anyway, picking up where we left off, our entire inventory got completely messed up. I basically went and vendored all of the weapons and items that we had been picking up anyway. And I did pick up this nice bow with Spell Thief, so we can replenish spell slots. That's going to be helpful for Veloth, because we're about to multi-class Veloth into our Warlock, Sorcerer, Fighter build. And we're also going to look at respecking Shadowheart and level up our other characters. And I think to do so, it may even be a good time just to go to the camp. That fight with the goblins took a lot out of us. Early on in levels, the casters especially in this game, one of the things that is a little challenging is that the casters take a lot more time to develop, and early on you really don't have a lot of spell slots for abilities. So our magic classes are struggling in their stamina department a little bit. I mean, they do have cantrips, but the cantrips really don't hit very hard, and so we've used a lot of big spells trying to get through some of these encounters. And so we're going to go to our camp. We're going to maybe swap out some party members, level up others, and so this will kind of just be a little bit of sort of getting ourselves organized, and then we'll go and we will continue exploring this the grove and this conflict between the Druids and the Tieflings. Somehow Gale became our party leader. I don't know how that happened. As it should be. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with leveling up the characters that are in the party now, because we'll have to swap out a couple people to level everybody up. So let's level up Veloth. So the build that we were looking at for Veloth was a multi-class build where we take the first 2 levels of fighter for our extra action, our bonus action. And now we want to add a class, and we're going to add Warlock. Yeah, we're going to add Warlock to our build here. And it's going to, as you can see, we get Eldritch Blast, which is a really good ability. And we get Blade Ward, which is a defensive spell, which is really helpful. And then Armor of Agathis, which does some cold damage and gives temporary health. So that'll be helpful. And then we get Arms of Hadar. So we're going to go through and do this level up. And then chosen subclass is the Fiend. And I don't think this is going to be so important. So we will look at our cantrips. I think these are probably fine. Friends can be helpful. The nice thing about Friends on charisma checks is it is a cantrip and not a spell. So that is really helpful. As a matter of fact, I might forego. This may be blasphemy to some, but I don't know. Should I forego Eldritch Blast? See, the nice thing about it, it also doesn't have saving throws applied to it, I believe. I really want Blade Ward though, as well. Yeah, we're gonna take Eldritch Blast, and then we will we'll see if we can't pick up Blade Ward later. We should be able to, because Friends is going to be really helpful in our conversation and our persuasion checks. True Strike is kind of garbage. It can be helpful, but there's other ways to get advantage. Some of these other, Bone Chill causes disadvantage on the target, so that could be helpful as well. But we're gonna take Eldritch Blast, and I'm actually going to take Friends. A lot of people would say take Blade Ward, and it is a very good spell. But I like the dialogue flavor, so we're gonna do that. And then our subclass, let's see, there's the Fiend. And let's see, the Fiend, when you reduce a hostile creature to 0 hit points, this gift from your patron grants you 3 temporary hit points, so Dark One's Blessing. If we go the Great Old One, we get, when you land a critical hit against a creature, that creature and any nearby enemies must succeed a saving throw or become frightened. So that could be really powerful. And we gain Dissonant Whispers and Hideous Laughter, those are some good spells. Fear. They can be entertaining. And then the Archfey, charm or frighten nearby foes with the Feywild's beguiling, disturbing magics. So this is 2 turns of fear. And then we also get sleep and fairy fire, but we already have sleep. I believe. No, that's Gale has sleep. Yeah, so I think I want. I think either one of these is good. I'm going to do the Mortal Reminder, maybe. I don't know. Armor of Agathis. Deal 5 cold damage to any creature that hits you with a melee attack. And it stays until long rest. And it's not a concentration spell. This is on critical hit. This is on a kill. I feel like this would be better for a melee build. I'm going to go ahead and take Mortal Reminder, the Great Old One. I could be making a mistake. I really don't know this build super well. Oh, we can change the spells. Well, that makes it very different. That makes things very, very different. Hellish Rebuke is really good. React to your next attacker with flames that deal 2 to 20 fire damage. Hex, make your attacks deal an additional 1 to 6 necrotic and give disadvantage on an ability of your choosing. Protection from good and evil, lasts till long rest. That's concentrated. I've learned that to not like the concentration spells very much, because you end up limiting yourself. I mean, you get. I can't express how many times I have gotten in a position where I wanted to cast a spell, but it would cancel a concentration spell that I had in place. Hellish Rebuke. See, this will do damage and damage the next attacker. So that... Oh, it's delayed. Okay. So this only works if I'm being attacked. So we don't want to do that. Prevents targets from using reactions. Targets still take half damage on saving throw. So Arms of Hadar is pretty good. Hex, make your attacks deal an additional 1 to 6 necrotic damage. And give it disadvantage. And the disadvantage, I think, is the key with Hex. I mean, we still have sort of a fighter build. So... yeah, I'm going to take Arms of Agathis and... yeah, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take Hex, I think. Although Dissonant Whispers could be really good in certain situations. If you can, you know, if you can frighten a creature and give it like disadvantage somehow. So it becomes easier to hit. So I wonder if it's decreasing their armor class or if it's causing disadvantage, because either way would be good. But yeah, I'm going to take Hex. I think Hex would be, well, let's do Hex and we'll do Armor of Agathis. And that'll be good. And then we may replace these later. But while we're still kind of using a melee style until we get into like our sorcerer build, part of the build, and have a lot more spell proficiencies, then I think it would be good for us to be able to use Armor of Agathis, be in the melee, causing disadvantage on enemies. We don't really have any other, I don't think, yeah, well, we don't have any spells with this character yet, so yeah, one concentration spell is not too bad. I mean, you a few concentration spells that you can swap out, not so bad, but you just don't want to be overriding them. I'm going to hold off on Shadowheart because we're going to change her class. So let's go to Asterion next. And I apologize, we won't spend so much time on the rest of these. But Rogue level 3 is actually a pretty big level compared, you know, level 2 we really didn't have any choices to make. Now we get to decide if we want to be a thief. And a thief gives us fast hands, so an additional bonus action. And you've mastered the art of falling and gain resistance to fall damage. The bonus action could come in handy in situations in combat, getting a second attack. But his second attacks just aren't that spectacular. I mean, it's always nice having that extra attack. But gained a spell. So this would be going down like a spell casting route, and we get spell slots if we go that route. And then there's Assassin, and this is the one I think I'm going to pick. Assassin gives us advantage against creatures that have not taken a turn yet. So whenever we have initiative, we have advantage. And a successful attack roll against surprise creature is always a critical, and we get quick as an alley cat. You immediately restore your action and bonus action at the start of combat. So yeah, we're gonna take Assassin. It's not glamorous. I mean, obviously Trickster, you get to pick a lot of spells, but Assassin will do the job, and that's the important thing. So we're just gonna hit accept. And then Gale. And this should be pretty straightforward. I haven't played with Gale in my first play of the game because I accidentally killed him at the beginning of the game. So It looks like we just prepare some. We get a couple spells. So this is not as interesting as level 2, where we got to choose a spell, like a specialty. I'm gonna look at our prepared spells and just see what we have. We have magic missiles. Thunder wave is good. Mage armor, which I need to remind myself to actually cast mage armor after a long rest. Yeah, and then we have this concentration witch bolt, which is good. Sleep. I'm not convinced on sleep. People like sleep. I think sleep is kind of cheesy and it's just situational. Infuse a weapon with arcane energy. The weapon becomes magical, receiving +1 to attack and damage. Don't really want to mess with that. Cloud of Daggers is a really good spell for keeping enemies away. Also, Shatter. I do like Shatter. And I do like Scorching Rays. Ooh. So maybe, let's see, False Life. Chromatic Orb is okay. Burning Hands can be very, very good if you have everybody in melee range. Mirror Images for 10 turns. Flaming Sphere. Okay, I think I'm going to take Cloud of Daggers. I really love that spell. And Shatter is another really good one. Some of these are very situational. Hold Person can be situational. I mean, if you're in it for like boss fights or high threat enemies. Misty Step is good, but we're going to try and get some gear with Misty Step or some other ways to get Misty Step. But Misty Step is really good, and maybe when we level up a little bit and we stop relying so much on lower level spells, if we don't have an item for Misty Step, then we'll just take it there. And then we really don't need these other ones so much. So I think that's pretty good. Shield. Now shield is good. It wouldn't be bad to have shield either. And I could happily drop one of these. Shield is very good. I think for now we will focus on keeping these. When we level up and have more spell slots to burn, we do want shield. Shield is very, very good, but I want these AoE spells right now. I mean, I could argue for dropping Cloud of Daggers for shield. How many level 2 spells do I have? I've got all level 1 spells right now, I think. Maybe we'll do that. We're going to do that. We're going to take, I'll tell you what, we'll take Shatter and Shield because Shield is that good. I do want Cloud of Daggers, but maybe we'll wait and get that next time we level. Because Cloud of Daggers has some situational use. So that's it for Gale. That's it for Gale. Okay. Wow, we only have 1 health potion across all of these characters. Alright. So, let's see. Let's go over here and talk to Withers.
If not over, then through.
Withers has something to tell us.
We meet again, as predicted. I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services.
I'm not gonna lie, the Withers really kind of freaked me out at first because I didn't know what to expect with this game. And when I first found him, not knowing the D&D system very well, I had a really tough time with the temple fight the first time around. And then when he came out of the coffin, I thought I was screwed. I was like, there's a big, massive boss fight here. I should have known we're dead. And and then he turns out to be friendly. So that was a pleasant surprise. Let's see, you were sorting something before. What were you doing?
Beyond mortal realms, there doth exist an amalgamation of spirits akin to thine own, ensnared by the treacherous cult of the Absolute, felled in its name. They bear great discontentment with their destiny. For a mere pittance of coin, I might summon the
Yeah, I really don't want.
worthiest among
Yeah, so
them
he's basically
to
telling us about the
aid
hirelings.
to thy undertaking.
Um,
Should thou or any of thy compatriots perish, I will cleave soul to body once more.
so basically, if you do like I did my first playthrough and you kill off companions, or you scare them off, or you just don't find them for some reason, which is understandable. I didn't find Asteria until like 15 hours into the game, the first time, because I just didn't go that direction. So he can bring hirelings to join your party, and they're just generic characters. You pick their class. You can respec them if you want to. They're not that. There's no story behind them, and you can't customize them in any way. They're just generic. So that's incredibly powerful magic. So he can also resurrect dead companions sometimes. I have heard that there are times when maybe if it's story driven or it may be a game glitch, I don't know, but I have heard that there are times when companions die and they cannot be resurrected by him. I try to always keep scrolls on me in case a companion dies. I have not had to use withers for that purpose. So so you mentioned a cost. What is it?
Of
Yeah.
coin.
All right. So I'm going to bring
Afford to stay idle.
Shadowheart over here, and Shadowheart
Keep
is going
pushing
to speak
and
to
harbour a
Withers,
little conversation.
and we're going to change her class.
I shall be here in thy camp.
All right, help me change
for
my
whenever
class.
Thou hast need. As thou desire.
So we're going to keep her as a cleric, and she can pick some cantrips. Is this what we had before, or did we have Blade Ward? Blade Ward is good. Resistance is a concentration spell. Yeah, we don't want resistance. We want Blade Ward. And guidance is good. Sacred Flame. Meh. We probably won't use Sacred Flame, but we'll have it. And she doesn't really do any of our dialogue checks, so thaumaturgy is not going to be helpful. I don't want to spoil anything, but you could use Produce Flame or Light. We're going to change to Light Domain, and we will get the Light cantrip by being Light Domain. You can see it disappears from the options here. And the reason we want Light Domain is for Warding Flare. Shield yourself with Divine Light. Use your reaction to impose disadvantage on an attacker, possibly causing their attack to miss. So this is going to be a huge defensive ability, and we're going to make Shadowheart really tanky, like disgustingly tanky, and it's going to if we do this right, it should be a really fun way to play the game. Alternatively, Life Domain, if you want her to stay as a healer, is very valid. In my first playthrough, I switched her to Light Domain from Trickery, so I kind of just want to try something different. But Life Domain is certainly viable. Bless is a really good spell for protecting your party members, and you get. I think she ends up with like 5 or 6 or more healing abilities, all with different ranks and situational purposes. Alternatively, honorable mention War Domain. And when you make an unarmed or weapon attack, you can spend a War Priest charge to make an additional attack as a bonus action. So if you wanted her to be a little bit more like a fighter, maybe, perhaps, like fighter cleric, and you could even possibly take like 2 levels of fighter, get action surge, and then have War Priest. I don't know how well that will work, but I suspect it would work pretty well, and you would have a lot of bonus actions on your turn and just go in and crush face. But you get martial weapons, and this would of course come with heavy armor. Life Domain gets heavy armor as well. Light Domain does not. And that is one important thing to notice here is light Domain does not get heavy armor. So anyway, so yeah, we got our cantrips, our domain, and then our abilities. So we want our wisdom up. We want our dexterity up for saving throws. 1 in strength is probably not the best place to put it. I would almost put it into Constitution for her. And my reasoning is this. You want... Constitution is going to help her concentration throws. And then Wisdom will help her spell casting. So we want her spell casting up, and we want her to be tanky, and she doesn't have to be necessarily strong, but we want her to have survivability. Charisma, we can knock that down. We can put those into Constitution as well, or into Dexterity. I'm going to put him in Constitution, and she's just going to be a tank, like a legit tank. Excuse me, had to cough there. Yeah, I'm just going to take her charisma points all the way out, and her intellect. There's not a lot of intellect saving throws, and charisma checks, not a big deal. So we don't need charisma. We don't need intelligence. We want beefiness. And yeah, so we'll pump that Constitution up to like 16. Alternatively, we could put it into Dexterity. So we could do something like that. The problem is, well, there we go. So the 16, 14, 17, that's actually really good too. Yeah, we're going to do this. If it doesn't work the way I plan, I will amend it later. I'll just respec her and then change this. But I think that'll be a good setup. And then we don't really get a lot of choices. I mean, persuasion or medicine, history, those are the only choices really we really get here. So we're just going to go with it. We've got +5 insight, which will be helpful for finding for reading people and situations, and she will be in our party a lot, so in dialogue hopefully she will share her input with people. Okay, so confirm, and now we have 2 more level ups for her. Cleric level 2. all right. So we got Radiance of Dawn at level 2, and this is why we swapped to Light Cleric. Sun's divine power dispels any magical darkness. So this is a 30-foot, I believe it's a 30-foot radius that it casts. And it's a huge AoE spell. This is why we don't need strength with her. We're just going to like park her in the middle of combat and nuke everything with Radiance of Dawn. That's our strategy for Shadow for Shadowheart, and it's a strategy that she is well suited for. So, with that said, let's see. Bless is concentration. I do like Sanctuary. Protection from good and evil is acceptable. Shield of Faith is a concentration for +2. I don't think we need Shield of Faith. Let's drop Guiding Bolt. Let's drop Inflicted Wounds. Alright, so let's see. This is a class action, and it uses Channel Divinity, so we don't have to have a spell slot for that. I just wanted to check that and make sure I understood. So I'm going to take Sanctuary. I like Sanctuary. Protection from good and evil is situational because it only works on certain types of enemies, and there are lots of fiends and undead. But I'm going to go ahead and take Bless for now instead. And with that is one thing with her character class, you have to pay attention to what abilities you take. Because of the so many of her abilities are concentration based. So like if we took Shield of Faith, we can't cast that and cast Bless, because we might have Shield of Faith on ourselves, and then as soon as we bless the party, we lose Shield of Faith. So we're going to take Bless. We're going to take Sanctuary. And then maybe we could have some fun with Command. There are some places where we could have fun with Command. Or create or destroy water. Yeah. So we'll take maybe Guiding Bolt. Yeah, we'll take Guiding Bolt. And another thing we have to think about is how we want to use our spell slots, because we only have so many of them to cast. And we're going to be using Bless a lot. We're going to be using Sanctuary on occasion to protect our teammates. And then we're going to be using our healing spells quite frequently. So, something like Protection from Good and Evil, Shield of Faith, casting that every long rest, only to have it overwritten, like, just not valuable. So I think this is good for her for now. You don't want to bother casting spells, burning spell slots, just to lose them later. Wow, we know a lot of spells. Wow. So these are all spells that we know by virtue of our class and our domain. And the one that I really like here is Warding Bond. I use that a lot. Enhance Ability is very good as well. Protection from Poison. Now, Protection from Poison is not concentration based, and same for Warding Bond. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Prayer of Healing. Prayer of Healing is nice, but it's only out of combat, and so you're just going to use a short rest most of the time. Spiritual Weapon. A lot of people like Spiritual Weapon. It doesn't do a lot of damage. So I just feel like her role is more in protecting the party. Aid is a very good spell. Aid gives you additional hit points, and at low levels this can be very useful for us right now. Warding Bond is very good, but we may take too much damage early, and I am concerned that if I cast Warding Bond on any of our party members, we'll end up just killing off our cleric. So we're going to drop Protection from Poison, and we're going to pick up this lasts until long rest as well. And this will give our entire party 5 extra hit points, which is massive when you consider she only has 24. And I think Gale and Asterion have less. So 5 extra hit points is a big deal at low levels. We will drop this later. And when we drop it, we'll probably pick up Warding Bond. And then we will use this. Warding Bond is amazing. It basically makes one of your party members very difficult to harm. However, when they do take damage, Shadowheart takes damage too. And so that's why we don't want it this early, I think. Enhanceability is a notable, as well. Bestow magical enhancements upon an ally. They gain advantage on ability checks with a chosen ability. So enhanceability is really good, but I think considering the number of slots we have currently, later on when we have like a lot of room to move things around, we'll probably pick that up as well. It is good to have, but it's not as mandatory as like Warding Bond. So that should be it for Shadowheart. I know I've gone into a lot of in-depth my thoughts on this. I'm not a D&D expert. I've just played a lot of Baldur's Gate so far. And so this is, those are the things that I've found to be helpful. So I'm going to drop, let's see, who should I drop? We need to drop one of these characters and pick up I'm going to drop Asterion.
So, we're traveling with the famed Blade of Frontiers. I feel safer already.
Actually, I'm going to drop Gale. Come here, Gale. Oh, there he is.
I'd like some time to talk.
I've known a few warlocks in my time. Talented, of course, though sometimes too eager to listen to the devils on their shoulders. Comes with the territory, unfortunately. I question the wisdom of that decision, but so be it. I'll be here in the meantime.
All right, so we're going to drop Gale from the party. And then I'm not going to worry about Lae'zel just yet. I sort of want to get Will into the group.
At your calling.
How does the Blade of Frontiers end up chasing a devil in the hells?
Karlach's fires raged in Baldur's Gate before she escaped to Avernus, as my source told it. She was planning to return. One of the archdevil Zariel's own, chaos incarnate, a devil with pure fire for a heart. I made my way to Avernus to stop her. She fled from my reach, even climbed aboard the Mind Flayer ship as it screeched through the hells. I followed in close pursuit. I can't bear to imagine the lives Karlach might be taking, the damage she might be doing. A powerful friend with a keen interest in privacy. I'm sworn to say no more.
All right. A powerful friend, huh? Like a warlock patron, perhaps?
You are a warlock. You know about bound souls and frozen tongues. I can only leave the rest to your imagination.
I mean, we've been a
Suffice to
warlock
say,
for 5 minutes. I don't know anything
hunt
about anything,
monsters,
so...
devils included, and I will do what I can to quench the coast of their flames.
A most vicious one, in fact. It's made from pure bloodstone, carved from the Galena Mountains just north of the Moonsea. A reminder that sometimes blood must be shed and sacrifices must be made. But that story is reserved for lifetime friends and calmer days.
So I guess we can like be really creepy and stare at his eye.
Tiny grooves spider across the eye's surface. It resembles a sending stone used to confer with distant contacts.
A sending stone? Nothing so special, I assure you.
His breathing quickens, his jaw tenses. Will is keeping something from you.
These companions and their
Sensation
hidden
courses through
backstories.
you, and your companion's mind unfolds, secrets half revealed.
Gladly. Anything more we should discuss?
So a lot of times whenever you're talking to companions, it will give you the option to like invade their mind with the parasite. Most of the time that doesn't go well. They don't exactly like it, and they know when you are trying to read their mind. So just a hint, if you're playing and you see those options where it says Illithid and you're talking to a companion, they generally don't like that. And if you want to keep your companions happy, just don't do it. So we're going to have Will join the party.
Spirit.
And we're going to level him up and bring him along with our merry band for a little while, because he has some story progression coming up soon for his own story. So let's see, spells. We get to pick one spell at level 1 for a warlock. Interesting. Eldritch Invocations. Oh, this is at level 2. Gotcha. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so level 2. And then what spells can we... Okay, so we have a handful of spells. He comes with a handful of spells. So I think for Will, it's important to look at like what spells. He already has Witch Bolt, Protection from Good and Evil, Rebuke, Hex, Command, Charm, Burning Hands. And a couple of these are concentration based. And then if we look at the invocations, when you cast Eldritch Blast, add your charisma modifier to the damage it deals unless it is negative. His charisma modifier is +3. So that's 3 free damage every time we cast it. So Agonizing Blast could be good. Armor of Shadows. You can cast Mage Armor on yourself at will without spending a spell slot. That could be helpful. Beast Speech. Talk to animals at will without expending a spell slot. You invoke your patron's Bewitching Charm. I'm not really a fan of having like companions as our primary dialogue person. So let's move on. Devil's Sight. You can normally see in darkness both magical and non-magical to 80 feet. So that basically is like the Drow dark sight. You can cast False Life at will without expending a spell slot. 7 temporary hit points. Disguise Self at will without spending a spell slot. 1 with Shadows. Repelling Blast. You can push creatures 15 feet with Eldritch Blast. And then you can cast Bane Bane targets 3 creatures. So this basically just gives us the Bane spell. So we're going to take Agonizing Blast and Repelling Blast. Eldritch Blast is going to be huge for us. It's a really good spell. And see, I thought we already had Witch Bolt. For some reason, it is giving us the chance to... Oh. Oh, we only have those. Okay, I'm a dummy. Okay. So we have to choose one spell. And neither of these are concentration, so that's a good thing. Burning Hands, big damage. I think whatever we do needs to be damage. Hellish Rebuke. The only thing about Hellish Rebuke, and I guess some people like it, you don't know that they're going to attack you. I think Witch Bolt, since we don't have a concentration spell anyway, Witch Bolt allows us to keep casting over and over again the same spell. And we can just keep casting it. So that's probably really good. Burning Hands only works at close range. That's the only reason I don't really like it. Yeah, so we're gonna take Witch Bolt. It's probably not the best option. There's probably a lot of people that would say Hellish Rebuke, possibly. But I really don't. I haven't played Warlock yet. Yeah, I haven't played Warlock yet, and so we're just gonna, I guess some of this is gonna be learning. Mostly we're going to be using Eldritch Blast anyway. Actually, I'm going to take... I'm just looking at he's Dark One's Blessing. So we get hit points, temporary hit points when we kill another creature. Yeah, I'm going to take Command. And this might be a huge mistake, but that's the good thing about Baldur's Gate is it's a very forgiving game in some ways. In some ways. I realize what I just said is probably controversial, but in some ways it is very forgiving. And I think we'll have with Eldritch Blast, we'll have the damage we need. I did want Cloud of Daggers earlier, or Shatter, or I do have Shatter, but Shatter is always so good. Yeah, we're going to take Cloud of Daggers since we don't have any concentration spells. And that's kind of a fun one. Pact Boon. Okay, so this is going to be our Warlock Pact. So gain the service of a familiar, a Fey spirit that takes the form of your choosing. This can be an animal, imp, or quasit. Pact of the Blade. You can summon a pact weapon or bind the one you are wielding, making it magical. Pact weapons use the wielder's spellcasting ability modifier instead of strength or dexterity. Spellcasting I wish it would show our ability modifier. It looks like, and we have plus throw to +5 charisma to saving throws. Pact of the Tome. Your patron grants you a grimoire called the Book of Shadows, which allows you to cast Guidance, Mockery, and Thorn Whip. We already have Guidance from Shadowheart. Thorn Whip and Vicious Mockery could be good though. Let's see, a packed weapon. I guess we'll go with Pact of the Blade. Let's see. Bind Pact Weapon until long rest. It's an action. Pact of the Blade. Summon a weapon to your hand. It uses the wielder's spellcast ability modifier and its damage is magical. Okay, so we can use literally any weapon. Its damage becomes magical. You cannot drop or throw it, and you become proficient with it. Wow. Pact of the Blade actually sounds pretty good when you look at that. Chain Whip pulls creatures 10 feet closer to you. Ooh, I don't know if I like that. Yeah, I'm going to go with Pact of the Blade. Otherwise, we can get, let's see. The animal spirit can take any animal form. That's cute, I guess. Form of an imp that can fly, turn invisible, and sting. So what does sting do? Causes 2 to 10 damage as poison. And then the Quasit can scare enemies. So yeah, we're going with Pact of the Blade. That just sounds cool. And then replace spell. I have 3 spells. I mean, I guess Arms of Hadar could be replaced. We have Eldritch Blast, right? Yeah. So considering that, I think we'll just go with what we have. That's until long rest. And then the pact is until long rest. Yeah, so we're just going to go with that, with what we have. I'm probably screwing Will's build up, but I guess I don't care. I mean, it is what it is, right? We can only do so much. So that's all we're going to do for now. Let's see.
There is work to do.
Keep your distance, darling.
All right.
Still breathing.
So let's see. I know that was a lot of like character customization stuff. You know, I do want to, we'll go ahead and take a break here for just a few minutes, and then I'm going to restart the stream. That way, if anybody wants to skip this, maybe I'll put that in like the comments or something, but you know, if it's too much character customization and people want to skip that, I think we'll like break here and then pick up with the actual like story and everything with the Grove. So thank you for watching. Next episode coming up right after this. We're just going to cut the stream and make a second video out of it. Appreciate you watching. Please send in your comments. Any things you'd like to see us do story wise. What do you want to see next? Any weapons you want to see? Any characters you want to see? Tell me about it, and we'll try to make it happen. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one here in just a few moments.